Aloha, the Hawaii Department of Agriculture welcomes you to our webinar for microgrants for Food Security Program FY23 award year. The application period is July 11th through August 12th, 2024. Today on our webinar, we will cover the purpose of this microgrant, the eligibility, the application process for organizations and individuals, and then we'll go through a step-by-step individual application process, followed by a timeline, closing remarks, and our disclaimer.
The purpose of the microgrants are to increase the quantity and quality of locally grown food through small-scale gardening, herding, and livestock operations in areas that have significant levels of food insecurity and which import a significant quantity of food. To be eligible, individuals are a single human being, obviously, and organizations might include any nonprofit organization, and nonprofit organizations could be defined as anything including a religious organization, a food bank, a food pantry, or a federally funded educational facility.
At this point in the presentation, we'd like to point out an organization RFP versus an individual application. Organizations that are applying for this microgrant will refer to an RFP solicitation that will be posted on HANDS, and HANDS is the Hawaii Awards and Notice Data System. You'll follow all of the guidelines in the RFP and submit a proposal via email. Organizations are required to have insurance, to be covered by HCE, which is the Hawaii Compliance Express, and also to have a 10% cash match requirement. On the bottom here, we do give the website that organizations may go to and get the information and actually download all of the application that is required for organizations. At this point here, we're going to talk just about individuals, and the rest of our presentation from here on will only be about individual applications, and that's all of you that are joining us now, individuals. You'll just do a simple online application. There's no insurance requirement. There's no HCE, which is the Hawaii Compliance Express, and there's no cash match required. It's just a simple online application.
To apply, you would go to the HDOA website, which is https://HDOA.hawaii.gov. And then you will scroll down and you will see here in red, you will scroll down to that marketing tab and you will click on that. Once you click on that, it will bring you to this particular screen, and you will scroll down and find grants and funding. Underneath the grants and funding header, you will see the Microgrant for Food Security Program, MGFSP. This is the button you will click on to get to the next screen. Then here is the next screen, and you will then be clicking on the circled in red MGFSP Individual Application Form for Fiscal Year 23.
Once you open the application, this is what you'll see. And basically, we'd like to point out, it says the MGFSP Individual Application Form FY23. This application is live as of July 11th, 2024. And informational webinar, which you are viewing right now on July 12th, is presented. We ask you to please review the application and note any questions you may have prior to the submittal of this applications. We encourage you to submit your application after viewing the webinar, so thank you for viewing the webinar. All proposals must be received before 12 noon, Monday, August 12th, 2024, as evidenced by the Hawaii Department of Agriculture time clock. Any applications that are time stamped thereafter 12 p.m. noon will not be reviewed. We'll now begin the application process.
So obviously, the first thing we will be required, anything that says required means that it's required. So fill in your first name. Middle name is optional, and please fill in your last name. It is very important that you enter your full legal name as it appears on your tax returns. On your phone number, include your area code, as well as provide your email address where you would like us to communicate with you when it for project reports, etc. Now here, it is required that you provide a project address. This is where your actual activity of your project is going to be conducted, and therefore it must be a physical street address. And if you do not have a physical street address, you must provide the tax map key. PO boxes as a project address are grounds for disqualification. Please complete the street address, and if you have an address line 2, the city, state, and zip code on this screen. Here, it is important to include your mailing address, which is slightly different, okay? In some cases, your mailing address might be the same as your project address, at which point you would then click that box so that it will pre-populate with your project address. If, however, you have a PO box that you prefer to use as your mailing address, then you may indicate as such as well. Once you scroll down, you see there that it says by checking this box below, I confirm that I am over the age of 18 and a resident of the state of Hawaii, and this is required.
The next process in this will be to select a project category. An eligible individual that receives a subaward under this micro grant FY23 program shall use the funds to engage in activities that will increase the quantity and quality of locally grown food for food insecure individuals, families, neighborhoods, and communities via the following activities from the categories that you will see listed below. And we will move to the screen in a few minutes that you'll see what the categories are below. By selecting one category from A, B, or C, and listing the dollar amount of your expected budget next to the item that is in that category for your project. This is a fixed amount grant of $5,000, and you may select only one category, A, B, or C, for your project. Selecting multiple categories and or not meeting the $5,000 fixed amount award will disqualify your application. Again, you'll see in the red box that we squared off for you, you must select only one category, A, B, or C, as listed below. And we're going to scroll down there in just a second. Within that category, you will select items for your project and indicate the dollar amount that you are budgeting for each item in that category, A, B, or C, and the dollar amounts must be in increments of $100. Your total for that category must equal $5,000. Again, we just want to reiterate the total must equal $5,000 in the selected category. Let's start with the categories. Karen?
The first category, A, is considered gardening. If you're choosing the best, you need to choose the best category that best fits the project that you're intending to conduct. So here in the example of category A, gardening, you would click category A in that box, gardening, and then you may itemize all of the different things that you may need for your project. If you have an area that you do not intend to spend money in it, obviously leave that blank. But here you can enter a dollar amount for purchasing gardening tools that you intend to use to grow and store your food. You might have a dollar amount for soil or soil amendments to make it more enriched for growing food. Here you might also click on seeds and plants that you're purchasing. If you're purchasing animals, please enter not only the dollar amount, but the types of animals you intend to purchase. The preserving or canning equipment that you will use to store and preserve your foods. You might need refrigeration or freezing supplies. And then obviously other items may give you an opportunity to list other items that you may need for your gardening project. And moving forward, this is continuing category A only. If you intend to use something to improve an irrigation systems or supplies. Another category might be if you're going to use composting supplies to make compost or tea. Garden grow tower systems, don't forget to include the seeds that you intend to purchase. High tunnels, and I believe that it must be non-permanent structures. If you're going to do any land clearing, you're gonna need either labor support or you might need a rental of some equipment to do that land clearing. Or hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponic systems, supplies for those systems. If you intend to engage in any gardening or agricultural education or training programs, and if you need fencing or enclosures to protect your garden or project activity operation against any feral animals. Now, again, increments of $100 and the total must equal $5,000. Don't forget to include shipping costs because that can also be included in your budget.
We'll now move on to category B. Category B is livestock and herding. Be sure that you check the category box that says livestock and herding. Here again, you would select the items that you would need in this category. You don't have to select all of the items. You select what you need by indicating the dollar amount next or below the items that you are requiring. And for example, fencing for livestock, poultry, reindeer, purchase of poultry or livestock, if you're going to be purchasing anything in that category, purchasing of livestock supplies, food, or related items to store or preserve a harvest, livestock or agriculture regarding to education and training, creating or expanding livestock, poultry, egg, food markets. You would indicate in these boxes the dollar amount. We're going to continue with category B. If you're looking for chicken enclosures, you would include that amount there. Again, you can add shipping costs that you anticipate that you will be bringing in or needing to order. And then all the items that you need, you could put down a dollar amount, and then you would list the other items that you will need. Again, the box on the bottom needs to total $5,000. And we've been another note there, just to remind you, shipping costs may be included in all of your budget.
And the next category, category C, is for apiary projects. Now, if you are interested in doing apiary projects, you would click that box, category C, and here you might include the dollar amount needed to purchase bees or bee boxes, apiary honey processing or beekeeping supplies. If you intend to apply to education or training to learn more about apiary business and projects, if you intend to create or expand a food market that uses apiary products, include your shipping costs for supplies and any other items that may not have been listed above. And again, the dollar amount and list those other items. And then again, don't forget your total must equal $5,000 only, and each incremental dollar amount must be in increments of $100.
Before we move on, just one reminder again, that you're only allowed to select one category, A, B, or C. And in those categories, A, B, or C, they must equal $5,000. We'll now move on to project description, measurables, and outcomes. This is where you're going to tell your story. Now, in the previous screens, you told us what you're going to be doing and how much money you're going to do with those items. Now you're going to tell your story. And here you're going to tell us in a 12-month period, a 1-year period, you're going to describe or tell us what your project description will be, what the measurables will be, and what the outcomes will be. This is the highest scoring part of your application.
Here you will provide a detailed plan for your project, and you will estimate how much food you intend to produce over 12 months, how your project will help with food insecurity, how many people your project will feed or support. That would include your household as well as those that are outside of your household. You would also describe your project area. Will you be conducting your project on your lanai, in your backyard? How many acres you are planning to use as your project area? Do you have a farm plot? Maybe you're in an apartment building and you only have a balcony, or you're going to use it in your apartment living room. Whatever the case is, you will have to describe your project area. You will also need to describe a timeline of how you will complete your project within a year and how you intend to measure and keep track of the amount of food you produce. So keep in mind, if you are planning to plant a citrus tree, you may not necessarily have a harvest within a year, or you might have a harvest within 6 months. Some you might have to wait several years. In this situation, you would want to describe the total number of trees that you are planting, and that would be your measurable.
We'll now move on to the estimate of food produced in 12 months. In these boxes, you'll estimate the food produced throughout the duration of your one-year project as a result of the project. How many pounds of what? Example, 300 pounds of tomatoes. How many ounces, gallons of what? You would be producing guava juice. 500 gallons of what? Guava juice. So as you go down, you will see, you will report the units, bunches, dozens of what? You'll also be able to add, if you're doing bunches of bananas, parsley. Those are examples that you would put there. The box that says number of square foot or other, this is if anything else does not fit into these categories, you would tell us what the item is, what you're doing, and of what. So 2,500 feet of wire fencing you would add in this area. 12-month estimate, and also if you've been a previous grant recipient. In these two boxes here, number of people in your household that will benefit from the project. Put a number in. How many people in your household will actually benefit? The box below, number of people outside your household. Put a number in if you'll be feeding or sharing or selling your product to 20, 30, 40 people, 5 people. You will then put it in these boxes, the number. On the bottom, we also have a question. Have you previously been a recipient of a micro grant for Food Security Program Award? You will answer simply yes or no by indicating in the box, in the circles there.
The following notes are very important because you're acknowledging the different categories that we'll be covering right now. So for example, in the first one, acknowledgement of a W-9. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge the state of Hawaii requires my submission of a W-9 for tax reporting purposes. This may impact your tax rate, so make sure you fill out your complete and full name that is according to your tax return. The second bullet, acknowledgement of taxation. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge I will receive a Form 1099-G from the state of Hawaii as per federal reporting requirements. And I am also acknowledging that this may affect my tax rate and income status for other programs. I will consult my tax advisor if I have questions regarding this. This would be categorized as miscellaneous income. Again, we are not able to give you tax advice. You need to consult your own tax advisor for this information. Enter your full name here. The next box is going to be a discussion of release of liability. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge the state of Hawaii Department of Agriculture is not liable for any loss associated with the project or projects for which the award was granted. I acknowledge I am responsible for obtaining appropriate liability insurance if necessary. Enter your name below. The next box, acknowledgement of duty to report. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge that if my project is funded, I am responsible for providing the Department of Agriculture a final report of measurable outcomes with photographic documentation using the reporting templates provided. Type your name in full below. Acknowledgement of required registrations. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge I will comply with all required registrations or inspections needed for the project, such as access deer fencing inspection, a honeybee hive registration, and or other requirements. Again, type your name below. Again, all of these boxes need to have your name entered in full in each box. The last box on this particular screen, acknowledgement of rights to inspection. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge that the Department of Agriculture reserves the right to perform random audits and or inspections to assure project performance and compliance with the terms of the grant award. Next, acknowledgement of equipment disposition. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge that any equipment with a value of $5,000 or more may be used during and beyond the term of the grant award to maintain the project. If, for any reason, the equipment is to be sold or no longer used for the project purpose, the Department of Agriculture must be notified prior to the disposition of said equipment. Enter your name below. Acknowledgement of terms and conditions. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge that if selected, I agree to follow the terms of this proposal and all state terms and conditions. Enter your name below. Acknowledgement of purchases. By typing my name in the box below, I acknowledge that I agree to purchase only items listed on this application and will provide receipts with my project report. Type in your full name below. Acknowledgement. By typing my name in the box below, I verify that I am a resident of the state of Hawaii. I agree to complete the project to the best of my ability. If I incur any interruption, delay, or inability to complete the project as described, I will notify the Department of Agriculture. I have fully read and completed the application in its entirety. Enter your full name below, and then you will click on the I am not a robot CAPTCHA, and then you can hit submit. So now we're moving to the next
Once
section.
you submit your application, you will get an automatic notice on your screen that says, thank you for submitting the application for the Microgrant Security Program FY23. Your application will now be reviewed and scored. You will receive an email confirming our receipt of your application. You'll also receive a copy. For further inquiries, we ask you to please contact us via our email address, which is hdoa.md.microgrants@hawaii.gov, or to call our office at 808-973-9594. Now we'd just like to go over our timeline so that you understand the time and process of this grant. The first box is the application box in blue. Time period, July 11th through August 12th, 2024. Moving on to the next box. It's the Hawaii Department of Agriculture's review process. Your applications, and if you're an RFP, which means the organizations, the proposals will be reviewed and scored between August 13th and October 31st, 2024. Once the scoring and evaluation is completed on or about November 1st, 2024 till the 30th, the USDA will then review the applications that have been submitted, that have been approved and passed by the HDOA review board for approval. That again is about a 30-day period by the USDA. Once that comes back to us, we will put out the notice of awards, and our timeline on that is between December 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2025. You will receive an actual email notifying you of the award. After that takes place, February through the middle of March is the paper processing period where we actually have to process paperwork. We will send you out an agreement that you agree to receive the funds from us. You will submit back in all the appropriate paperwork that's required. Once that process is done, we then process your award for payment to you, and we're looking at sometime after about the middle of 2025 of April, that awards funding money will be sent out to you after all the paperwork is compiled. The awarded applications will receive your funds, and they are mailed out certified US mail.
So we'd like to reiterate a couple of things on this screen. Under the submission application process, you'll notice there's a fine print that says submit your applications and proposals no later than August 12th, 2024 at 12 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. The computer actually generates, because once it clicks at 12 noon, it tends to not accept applications. We highly recommend that you do not just start working on it at 11 a.m., for example, on August 12th, because something may happen with your internet or your laptop, or something crashes and we are unable to assist you with your application at that time. So please note that, do that in advance. The second thing is that items here are all subject to change. And as you can see, that the process is a very long process to do paperwork, etc., and review, and certifying distribution of government funds will take at least almost a year, because as you can see that it's not till April 15, 2025 at the earliest. And we apologize that we notice here, we will update that there's a few year typographical errors, so we will correct that in the future. And this will be posted on the website that we noted earlier in the beginning, which is.
It'll come up at the end.
Oh, it'll come up at the
We'll
end.
share it again.
Yeah. Okay.
So moving along, we do have a disclaimer, and the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, HDOA, does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, age, or disability, or any other class as protected under the applicable federal or state law in administration of its programs or activities. And the Hawaii Department of Agriculture does not intimidate or retaliate against any individual or group because they have exercised their rights to participate in actions protected or oppose actions prohibited by 40 CFR Part 5 and 7, or for the purpose of interfering with such rights. If you have any questions about this notice or any of the Hawaii Department of Agriculture's non-discrimination program policies, or procedures, you may contact Reiji, Non-Discrimination Coordinator, Hawaii Department of Agriculture, at our offices at 1428 South King Street, Honolulu, Hawaii 96814. Her phone number is 808-973-9560. And the email is hdoa.titlevi@hawaii.gov. If you believe that you have been discriminated against with respect to the Hawaii Department of Agriculture program or activity, you may contact the non-discriminatory coordinator identified above. To request translation, interpretation, modifications, accommodations, or other auxiliary aids or services from this RFP or this information, contact the Hawaii Department of Agriculture at 808-973-9595, or you may email us at hdoa.md@hawaii.gov. Please allow sufficient time for the Hawaii Department of Agriculture to meet accommodation requests. We'd like to just put up really quickly for you, contact and information to apply. We really want to point out to you the grant email for individuals. That's where you would email any information that you need from us, any questions that you have from us. You would email the grant email for individuals. We do also have a grant telephone line that you can call at 808-973-9594. We'd like to say thank you for joining us today on this webinar. We hope it's been informational for you. We hope that this gives you a little clarity in filling out the application, and we look forward to receiving applications from you. And please, again, do not hesitate to call or ask questions of us via our email or telephone number.